Hello everyone, welcome to sqadia.com, and now we will talk about in vitro fertilization. We will talk about what are the steps of in vitro fertilization, what is in vitro and what's in vivo, and what's the complication of in vitro fertilization. So the word in vitro, it comes from the Latin word, which is it means the glass. Initially, it was very common term used was the test tube babies or, the glass tube babies, and that was in vitro fertilization actually, in which the embryo is fertilized in the glass tube and then transferred into the uterus of the mother. So it comes from the Latin word glass. It refers to biological tests done in the glass tube rather than in the humans. It's not done in the humans, rather it's done in the tube. And in vivo as compared to in vitro, which is done in the tube, not in the humans. In vivo, it refers to live studies. So it's done in the actual humans or animals. So one is in the glass or tubes, one is in the life or in the living humans. That's the main difference between the in vivo and in vitro. That's why it's called in vitro fertilization. Fertilization is done in the tube, and after that embryo grows out and that's implanted in the uterus of the mother. Now, what are the different steps of in vitro fertilization? If you just see this diagram here, that gives you the complete picture of the in vitro steps. Here, first, the egg is picked up. After ovulation induction, we already went through over that how ovulation is inducted, and after induction with medicines, by the time when the ova are ready to come out of the follicles, they are picked up. Good, mature, healthy ova are picked up in the tube here. So first the picking up of the egg. Then that egg and the washed sperms are mixed together in a dish. So egg from the female and washed sperm from the male, they combine together in this dish. Then first, in the development of the embryo, first there are 2 cells, then there are 4 cells, then 8 cells. All this is division of the cells is taking place in this here outside in the dish. So embryo is developed. First 2 cells, 4 and 8, reproduction is taking place. Then after the embryo develops, that embryo is transferred into the uterus of the female here. You see with the help of the cannula here. So all these are the basic steps of the in vitro fertilization, IVF. So ovary stimulation. After the ovary is stimulated, then the follicle develops. Then there is a trigger shot of here, FSH, LH, after which there is ovulation is taking place. Then there is gathering of the luteinizing hormone surge is after that where there is ovulation. So triggering shot or HCG shot, and after 24 to 36 hours there is usually ovulation. Then eggs are gathered, fertilization takes place, and then there are developing embryos, first 2, then 4, 8 cells. Then embryo is selected, whichever is good well-developed embryo that's selected, and then planting of that embryo into the uterus, and then successful implantation. All these are the steps of the in vitro fertilization, and then the pregnancy test is done to find out if the pregnancy occurred or if the procedure was successful or not. Very common complications of in vitro fertilization is miscarriage can happen. That's very unfortunate, because after all these steps, all this procedure, and sometimes miscarriages happen. There might be infections with all these steps and cannulas entering, so infection can occur. There is sometimes bleeding with the puncture of the uterus, cervix, bleeding can occur, and also with damage to the bowel, bladder, and the blood vessels, all these structures which are very close to the uterus. Bladder and rectum and bladder damage is very common because they are very close to the uterus, front and back. And then there is damage sometimes to the blood vessels, leading to the bleeding. So these are some common complications of in vitro fertilization. So with this information about in vitro fertilization, our lecture topic subfertility is concluded, and hopefully you learn from our topic subfertility what are the causes and how we are investigating and treating this problem, and what are some complications of in vitro fertilization. Thank you for watching sqadia.com.